What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. You know, DC Comics right now is in the midst of a big event. Dark Knight's Metal is an event that's kind of, affecting all of the Justice League and features some of the, best creative talent that DC has to offer, helmed by Scott Snyder, who's written a ton of Batman comics, and of course, Dark Knight Metal revolves around Batman. We found out recently that at the end of Dark Knight's Metal, which wraps up in mid-March, we will see an expansion on the Justice League in the DCU, and we'll see an event that sort of spins out of the Justice League and creates even some new Justice League teams. This is called Justice League No Justice. This will be a weekly 4-part miniseries, so it'll span 1 month, and it'll be written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and it'll be illustrated by Francis Manapul. Now, it's super interesting. So this kind of spins out of the events of Dark Knight's Metal, and the basic setup here is that Brainiac shows up and talks about a kind of world-threatening, cosmic-level danger coming towards Earth, something that affects everyone, and the Justice League isn't equipped to handle it. So Brainiac's suggestion is to recruit the villains of Earth as well, the super-powered ne'er-do-wells, if you will, to team up with the superheroes to go out and kind of meet this threat head-on. So in doing so, they form 4 separate Justice League teams, which, it stands to reason, are the focus of the 4 issues of this miniseries. And these teams are a peppering of heroes and villains put together. Apparently the idea is they'll go out in other planets and solve some sort of threat, stop some sort of danger that's coming directly at Earth. So expect some sort of cosmic, planet-hopping, ridiculous nonsense in this series, which is certainly my favorite breed of comics. So let's run down the teams, because definitely some interesting characters they are throwing together here for these teams. The first team is helmed by Batman and features mostly villains. So he has the Beast Boy beside him as a real hero. Then he brings along Lobo, Lex Luthor, and Deathstroke. So he's definitely got some really smart people there on his team, but also some really dangerous people, and Lobo being an extreme loose cannon on the team. So it'll be interesting to see Batman try to rein in all of those massive personalities. Beast Boy seems like a bit of an outlier there, but I guess you have your oddball thrown in for good measure. Moving on from there, Superman has his own little task force of the Justice League as well. This team is kind of revolving around aliens. Superman, of course, is an alien himself. He teams up with a very alien Starro, who's kind of a giant kind of octopus dude who has mental capabilities. We also have Starfire on the team, Sinestro is there, and Martian Manhunter. So again, mix of good guys and bad guys. Superman paired up with Sinestro is certainly an exciting direction for those two to take. Sinestro is extremely manipulative and conniving, and Superman obviously is the Boy Scout. So those two kind of bashing heads sounds like a really fun direction for that team to go. And, they are an extremely powerful team as well, with some just awesome talent on that team. Moving on from there, Wonder Woman has a team that she's leading a team of magic users, which is certainly an interesting approach for Wonder Woman. She definitely has some sort of mysticism in her abilities, but certainly not as much as the rest of her team. So she is in a team featuring Raven, Dr. Fate, Zatanna, and Etrigan. So very mystical with the rest of her team there, kind of, an actual demon in Etrigan, and just lots of magic getting tossed around on that team. So obviously that team will face some sort of, mystical threat, it seems like, is what they'll be geared up for, and then Wonder Woman will be there to apparently smash some heads as they finish up the team. The final team that they announced and they released the images for is a team led by the Flash, and this is maybe the team I'm the most excited for. The through line on this team is mostly kind of, you know, smart people. It's kind of the nerd team. So we have the Flash there, we have Atom there, we have Cyborg, we have Damian, Robin, and finally rounding out the team is Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is definitely the outlier here, but again, she kind of serves the Beast Boy role on this team. The rest of the team are either, you know, actual geniuses like Flash and Atom and Cyborg, or people who just think they know everything, like Damian. So, you know, Damian's still kind of smart, but definitely has a higher sense of himself than is probably actually true. So again, on that team, I'm really excited to see Damian and Harley Quinn butt heads. We haven't seen those two interact really a lot, or at least I haven't. So it'll be really awesome to kind of see that team dynamic. So those are the 4 teams. We'll find out kind of more about them as we get closer to the series and as these issues come out. But from this, from the series, it seems like we're going to spin out into some new Justice League comics as well. We know that Scott Snyder is going to be writing one of them, and we know that there are going to be multiples. We're not sure kind of what configuration, what teams they're going to focus on, and who is writing and illustrating all of the rest of them. But it certainly seems like DC is putting a bigger focus on the Justice League. You know, when you look over at Marvel, the Avengers are usually the forefront of what's going on in the Marvel Universe. And the Avengers comic itself is usually a really good one to pick up. Historically, in DC, that's not necessarily the case with the Justice League. Justice League is usually good, but typically the solo books, your Batman books, for example, are higher quality and have more interesting stuff going on than the team-up book in the Justice League. So I'd really love to see that get flipped on its head. I'd love to see them throw their absolute best writing talent at Justice League, do some awesome events and massive stories like this for Justice League, just to kind of give the DC Universe this cohesive feel as a whole. I'm certainly excited. We will get this as soon as the Metal miniseries wraps up, Dark Knight's Metal, and I cannot wait. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Make sure that you like Pretty Dece on Facebook, facebook.com/PrettyDeceShow. Follow me on Twitter @PrettyDeceShow and visit PrettyDeceShow.com. I'll be back tomorrow for another daily episode. In the meantime, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel, on the podcast, and in the Anchor app so you never miss any of the content.